Hello and welcome to This Day Devo. Pastor Guy here. Blessing to have you here on this final day of the Gospel according to John. Congratulations, you have finished all four Gospels. That is no small feat. It's taken just shy of 6 months of Monday through Friday reading, and I'm just super proud of you. So you're doing an incredible job, and I hope that as you do this, you are engaging and God is speaking to your spirit and God is just growing you in your knowledge and your love and your trust in Him. I just hope that you're falling deeper in love with Jesus as you do this. And a big part of what we're doing here in the book of John, I've said this every time pretty much, right? It is so that you will believe or continue to believe and live by the power in His name. We read that today in our passage. We read that in the passage section, the purpose of this book. John wants you to know, this is why I wrote it. Where are you at in this conversation? Are you there? Are you deepening? Are you continuing? It's not just starting from square one. But you could say, I've been a Christian for 30 years, and because of what I read in this book, I'm continuing in the faith. He's given us enough. He's given us enough. Did you know that? That was one of the beautiful things about what we read today. Is the purpose of this book is, here's why I gave you these miracles. Here's why I told you this. And at the end, verse 25, now there are also so many other things that Jesus did. So many other things. But in that span of 3 years of ministry, verse 25 says, if every one of them were to be written down, I suppose that the world itself could not contain the books that would be written. Our Bibles are big, they're thick. I mean, this is an ultra thin line Bible. It's pretty narrow, but these pages are so skinny. They're so thin. There's some ghosting. There's just translucency. There's 2 columns. This is like, I don't know, it's like 9-point font, I think. I'll only be able to use this for a couple more years before I become a little bit past middle age. But my point is, I got a stack here of some of my biggest books here, and you'd be like, oh yeah, 3 years of life, we could jam it in there. But no. The world could not contain all of the stories, all of the depth, all the width, all the power, all the amazing things that Jesus did. The world couldn't contain it. And yet we have been given here all that we need to come to faith and to continue in the faith. Where are you at in that today? Do you feel encouraged? Do you feel on fire? Do you feel like your soul is moving closer to God? Do you feel that you're living Christ's life out as His ambassador more today than you were at the beginning of the year? I hope and I pray that you have. This was a great section where we get to see different disciples in their experience with Christ. We get to see the fishing. I just love the third time that Jesus appears to the disciples. They're out and they're fishing because Peter led them to go fishing. He didn't have anything. He's like, I don't know what to do. I'm kind of bored. I'm kind of stuck. So I don't know what's happening next. I'm just going to go back to what I know. I'm going to go do some fishing. The other disciples are like, yeah, let's go. We're going to go with you. Let's just go fishing. And they fish all night and they don't catch anything. But the next morning Jesus shows up and He gives them an instruction. Why don't you fish on the other side of the boat? Why don't you go fish over there? And they do it. They don't even know it's Jesus at this point. They throw their nets in. They catch 153 fish. The disciple that Jesus loves, who turns out that is the disciple that is writing this gospel account, he tells Jesus, even though he's 100 yards away from shore, he's like, that's Jesus. And so Peter jumps in the water and swims 100 feet. Or 100 yards to Jesus. And Jesus is there on the shore. He's already got a fish. He didn't really need them to catch fish. He's got a fish, and he's got it right there on the beach, burning on a charcoal fire. He's got everything that he needs right there. And so they bring some fish in. They do a little bit more frying, and he offers them breakfast, some fish and some bread. It's a beautiful story that then leads to Jesus forgiving Peter and calling him to the ministry of caring for his sheep and prophesies the way that Peter would die, with his arms spread wide against, upside down on a cross, he would be martyred eventually for Christ in the Roman Empire. And he still says, yes, I will go. I will feed your sheep. I love you. I love you. And there's all these conversations about what this is going to look like, where things are going to go. But the main thing for us to see here is, blessed are those who believe, even though they don't see. Like Jesus said to Thomas, and you and I are those who can't see. We weren't there. We believe on faith. So at the end of this book, the whole purpose is you believe. And the question is, where's your faith? Do you believe in faith in what Christ has accomplished for you? Do you believe it? Are you following him? Are you taking his lead? Are you all in? And are you loving the other sheep, caring for each other as we go, and fishing where he calls you to fish? You ever think about that? Where's you at in your faith? Where you at in your fishing? We are called to be fishers of men. You, not just me, not just the pastors among us, but you. You are called to be a fisher of men. And sometimes we're like, oh, who am I going to fish? How's it going to look? And Jesus is like, hey, why don't you ask me? I'll tell you where to fish. I'll tell you, wrong side of the boat there. Just go over there. You're on the wrong street. You're in the wrong city. You're in the wrong country. You're in the wrong place. Why don't you ask me where to fish and let me handle the fruitfulness of all that? So with that, it's just beautiful. And I pray that you've just learned so much. And tomorrow we're diving headfirst into the book of Acts, and it's going to be epic. It's going to be powerful. You're going to be encouraged to just to see the way the church is exploding, and how even under great persecution, Christians scatter and the church flourishes under persecution. So don't be afraid of persecution. It will only cause the church to grow in that. So today I learned this about Jesus, and on this day I will this. I have more books than this, but this is big enough stack. I didn't want to move all of them. So good job, Gospel of John. I'll see you later. Love you. Bye.
Every word sent down from heaven has the power of Christ.